comp plan drives behavior. Everything has an intention, right? So how you start your business, how you do it is going to duplicate one way or another. Whatever you do, it's going to happen. But here in Remon, there's two major things you want to focus on. Number one is to get to team leader as soon as possible, right? Because that's where the unlimited depth, leadership matching bonuses kick in. And as you know, as national directors, most of the big income comes from that matching bonus, right? But that's the long-term money, right? But also, as you become a team leader and as you start to launch your business, you want to focus on certain actions such as duplication. And we want to duplicate what? As many senior managers as possible. You want to turn yourself into a senior manager factory where it's duplicating and taking off with or without you. So where these packs come in, it gives you some insight on really how to set the tone and start your business. So if you want to be a senior manager, which requires 6,000 SP, let's start off with the 300 SP pack, right? So in order for you to become a senior manager and you want to start in with the SP packs, 300 SP pack, remember, getting where you fit in. But the flip side of the coin, you get to choose what you get compensated for your time, right? And what you do ultimately duplicates, but it's okay. Everybody has different circumstances and we want everybody to be a part of this opportunity, right? So let's start with the 300 pack, right? The 335 USD that gives you that 303 SP, right? So, including myself plus an additional 19 people, 19 people within my team, all coming in at 300 SP, that will get you to 6,000 SP, and that will get you locked in at senior manager, right? So it's all about having an intention, a game plan, and doing things, right? So if you want to start marketing with the 300 SP pack, by all means, go for it. And it's going to be you plus an additional 19. But remember, this 300 SP pack, it's a great pack to get started. But again, I like to emphasize that this is a beginner starter pack because, ultimately, as you know, Miss Kim Weimer talked about this, Miss Kate Twig talks about it. A lot of the other senior directors are talking about it. But when it comes to the Remon ritual, right, it's not about just trying one product, right? It's the whole package deal. You want to do the entire Remon ritual where you do the double cleanse, nourish, and protect, and you get that amazing glass skin where it heals from the inside out. But the reality is we don't really want to share skincare products due to contamination from our individual oils. So really, a 300 SP pack is only enough to really have a set for yourself to use and maybe start a dialogue, a catalyst to be a conversation, right? But in order for you to build a successful business, we also recommend maybe starting with the 1,000 SP pack, right? You want to have at least a few products to sell on slot because these are affordable luxury. People do want to buy it. When you say the magic word K-beauty, people's ears start to stand up. They're like, what? Oh, K-beauty, my daughter. You guys know the drill, right? You guys know how prevalent and trending K-beauty is, how desired it is, right? So if you want to start with the 1,000 SP pack, obviously, let's just say I got a 1,000 SP pack, then your goal is to get at least 5 other people to come in at the 1,000 SP pack, and that's going to get you to that senior manager position. But what you do duplicates, right? So it's all about picking the right campaign for yourself. So if you want to focus on 5, that's great too. But also, this here is what I call the cheat code. Okay, so when you come in at the 1,500 SP pack, you're going to get probably 2 to 3 products of everything with an experience kit for the RAD 100 and the EX line and some collagen masks. And, pretty much if you start at a 1,500 and you bring 3 other people in, that will get you to senior manager. But here's another cheat code I want to talk about, okay? Because ultimately there is a faster way where you can do this and get yourself to senior manager, right? So what you do duplicate. So let's just say if I get in at the 3,000 SP, it's going to net me 10% at about $232 because of the BP ratio. And if I make that leap all the way to 6,000 SP at senior manager, it's going to give me a 20% income because when I get to senior manager, I've already finished manager, and 20% off that 3,000 BP would be about roughly $464 that you could take straight into your pocket as a return of investment. If you hit senior manager in one purchase to leap past a planner, you get the manager pay and you get the instant rank advancement. So let's talk about this, right? So this is something for people that like to sell, like power sellers. If you're really great at promoting the product, if you hit senior manager in one transaction and leap past planner, you will automatically get the manager pay. But remember, you have to do this in one leap in 1 day transaction. So pretty much you can't do 1,000 here, 500 tomorrow, 300 there, and then another 1,000 there, and maybe another 1,500 pack there. That's not going to get you the manager pay. It'll get you to senior manager eventually doing that, but there is a cheat code where it fast tracks you to senior manager in one transaction. And when you do that one transaction in 1 day, then what you're going to do is you're going to leapfrog over manager and hit senior manager. But because you ultimately hit the rank of senior manager, you will get that back pay of manager of 20%. So if you order 4 premium starter kits, which is 4 1,500 SP packs, you're going to automatically hit 6,000 SP and you will get the 20% rebate, $464 in cash and $464 in Remon dollars. Remember, whatever I buy or sell, whatever I buy without the lifetime customer account, it's 50% commission, 50% Remon dollars. But as a note, please do not think of doing this unless you are going to absolutely sell the products. If you are a power seller, this is the fast track plan for you. And as you know, for all the starter kits, wherever you get started, the reason why we encourage get started where you're most comfortable, get in where you fit in, because you always have that second chance option of upgrading. And when you upgrade, you're going to be able to lock in the BP, SP, and the travel points as well for that Costa Rica travel promotion Remon retreats that we have. These packs unlock uni-level with 10 lifetime customer override, and you go from 5% to 10% level 1, and 0 to 5% on level 2. All right, and $69. And as you know, the fortune is always in the follow-up. We always use the Zoom always as an exposure for pending events, right? The best example I could give is also the game Cruising USA, right? So every time you're racing in that game and you hit a checkpoint, what happens? Your time increases, right? So when you go from event to event, pending event to event to event, and we participate in the process of the emotion transferring, the transfer of emotion, then what ends up happening is by the time your prospect gets to home base, an entire paradigm shift has happened. They see the vision, they get the aha moment, and they're ready to run. And that is why it's important to be a part of the system, plugging into the Remon orientation, peaking with the K-pop up, doing three-way calls, participating in the meetings, and doing the connection call and being part of the orientation. Before we get started in the game of recruiting, I have to say something utterly uncomfortable. Okay, and Jim Rohn talks about embracing the uncomfortable till it becomes the comfortable. But here's what I will tell you. Okay, scare money don't make money. So what I mean by that is there is no shame in the game. Okay, you as a Remon planner, I want you to have faith. I want you to have confidence. I want you to have posture as you build this business. Why? Because we are separate from the rest. We are different from the rest. We're not selling garbage products. We're not selling products because of a compensation plan. We're not selling products because of an opportunity, but we are participating in a worldwide mega trend known as K-beauty, and we get to market the #1 product. So what I mean by that is, ladies, especially the ladies, men too, but when you're selling this product, have no fear. What you say is the truth. The products are the truth. These products are clean, honest, affordable. It's going to do what you say. It's going to bring value to people's lives. It's going to turn the clock back. It's going to boost people's confidence. It's going to boost their morale. I want you to understand the type of posture you should have because of the quality of the product that we have. Okay, people are going to come back to you and say, thank you, how can I buy more? Okay, this is a different tone. This is a different stage in the game. We have the product, we have the deal. All right, so with that said, this is a very important mindset I want you guys to embrace. Let me go back. Every successful organization recruits. In order to stay relevant, in order to grow, in order to advance, every successful organization must recruit. That's just the reality of the matter. Google, what are they doing? They're looking for the greatest minds out there to join their camp. What is Sony BMG doing? The music entertainment. They're looking for the next talent. They're looking for the next Lady Gaga. They're looking for the next Bruno Mars. Hopefully they'll find the next Michael Jackson. Probably not. But that's what they're looking for, right? They're always recruiting, right? When I was I talk about how I was a K-pop singer, right? How did I become one? Somebody recruited me, somebody scouted me, right? What about the NBA, right? LeBron James is about to retire. Kobe Bryant has passed away. Michael Jordan is from another era. And now what are they doing? They're recruiting the top talent, looking for that next superstar to carry the NBA franchise, right? What is the U.S. Army doing? Uncle Sam wants you, right? They're recruiting, right? What does the police academy do? They're recruiting, right? Same thing. The Dodgers, right? For the longest time, what did they do? They kept recruiting Shohei Ohtani, and guess what? 5 years later, Shohei Ohtani became a Dodger. What did they do? They recruited him, right? So for any organization, not even just network marketing, any organization, any business, in order to grow and stay relevant, you must recruit, right? So why do we recruit? Because it gives you the benefit and that leading edge for further reach, aggressive expansion, building your network, gives you more time and leverage, right? So you get to understand more of the value of time, right? You do less and less, but work smart rather than working hard, right? Working hard versus working smart, right? And teamwork makes the dream work. Think of it like this, right? When you have 100 people on your team investing 10 hours of their time, you're literally yielding to yourself 1,000 hours worth of income paid out to you. That's called leverage, right? So I want to go back to this, right? Robert Kiyosaki talks about the quadrant, right? The employed and the self-employed. You're not going to get rich here, right? but you have to get into this big business area right here. That's where the rich people are, right? And network marketing allows you to do this. How? By recruiting and duplicating yourself, right? And instead of investing heavily in money, we heavily invest time and create something out of nothing. That's why this business is so magical. Through time investment, working smart, and leverage, you can literally grow an income and change your financial future. All right. This is by far the best advice somebody ever gave to me 18 years ago. Don't ever prejudge. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take anyway. So with that said, the people you think that are going to do it, they're not going to do it. Trust me when I say this. And the people you think that won't, they probably will. Can you imagine my sponsor day one when they recruited me? They probably thought I wasn't going to join. Oh, he's a K-pop singer. He probably doesn't need an opportunity. They probably didn't know fame and fortune are two different things. But guess what? I was open. I was looking for something. I was eager to see what is out there and what things can do for me, right? And the people that they thought that I wouldn't do it, guess what? I ended up doing it. And guess what else happened? I became a millionaire. I financially U-turned my life getting started and just by paying attention and taking some steps, right? So remember, never ever prejudge, right? How many of you would like to sponsor someone like a Mr. Danny Bay in your team, or like a Mr. Timothy Herr, or like a Karen Kang, or like a Steve Hyun? If you do, please in the chat room, please put a 1 for me. Show me you're serious, right? There you go. Lily, Claire, that's right. You guys are ready to be national directors. Kaki, nice to see you. Jeanette, Maria, TJ. We got a bunch of future national directors here. Joy, Lily, I see you. I see you, Robert. I see everybody, right? That means you guys have the national director mindset. So do not prejudge when you're out there. Because why? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And it was never yours to begin with. Think about that. It was never yours. Like the person you're thinking of recruiting, they're not even on your team anyway, right? And if you don't talk to them and you make the prejudgment, they'll never be on your team anyway. But if you ask them, maybe, just maybe, they might end up on your team. All right. So here's the good news. Learn to succeed by failing. Okay. To be good at anything, you must fail. Right. So, for those of you that are close to me and we talk a lot, some of you might know that my daughter just started figure skating. She wanted to try it. She loves skating and ice skating and roller skating, anything skating. She loves it. Right. But what we realize is to be good at anything, right? What I realized is she has to spend a lot of time on the ice, right? It doesn't matter what kind of a good coach I get her or what type of a great ice skating shoe I get her. It doesn't matter. The amount of time on the ice, falling, getting back up, falling, getting back up, and mastering that craft, right? But guess what? My daughter is failing. She's learning to succeed by failing forward, right? Failing forward to succeed, right? Because when you fail, what happens? You take a step back, you learn, you reassess, and you reapply, right? So that's why you have to be willing to fail, because failure is actually the stepbrother of success, right? So you must be coachable. You got to be bad before you get good at anything. Yesterday's home run do not win today's game. This is the best advice somebody gave me, right? They said, Chris Carey is a K-pop guy, he's successful, yada, 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 yada. And my sponsor said to me, yesterday's home run don't win today's games. And that was the most humbling saying that I heard. And, it didn't really make me mad. It stimulated me in a way where the light bulb went on in my head and it made me be a certain way, think a certain way, and just run, right? So remember, humility will bring you honor. All right. So law of averages are also in your favor. Top to 10, get 1, top to 10, maybe get 2, top to 10, get 3 or 4. You're just getting better, right? Anything worth doing, you need to spend time, just like my daughter, right? It doesn't matter how good of a coach or whatever, she has to spend that time investment on the ice. You have to spend that time investment here in the business, get a few no's so you understand, okay, these are the rebuttals, these are the no's, these are the excuses. And you do that over and over and over and over again. Guess what happens? You get numb and then you get real good. All right. So I'm going to share this video with you by Mr. Brian Tracy. If you want to increase your rate of success, you must double your rate of failure, double the rate of failure, because success lies on the other far side of failure. So this is my mentor, Mr. Brian Tracy. He breaks it down super easy. Let's see what he has to say.
The fear of failure is the greatest single obstacle to success in adult life. It's not the failure that holds you back. The failure makes you smarter. The rule is this, is there's no such thing as failure, there's only feedback. Is when you try something that doesn't work, you get feedback, not failure. And what you do is you say, oh, that's an interesting bit of feedback, and you pick yourself up, and you move forward, and you have more feedback, and you move forward.
You got that? So what Brian Tracy is actually saying when it comes to succeeding in this business with time investment, right? How time investment is actually going to work in this business is like this, okay? Let's just say I went to a K-pop up or I went to a Starbucks one-on-one to go recruit somebody, right? The reality of the matter is some are going to say yes and most are going to say no. Most are going to say no, and that's completely normal. Why? Because most aren't designed to be successful and rich. Most are not rich. The few are wealthy and successful in life, right? Same thing, right? So more people are going to say no, and that's okay. But the attitude you need to have in this business is when you get a yes, you have to acknowledge that today my business is growing. But when you get a no, you have to acknowledge my character and my skill set is growing. So you either learn or you earn. You earn or you learn, and you earn and learn and earn and learn. That's the whole thing of this business with time investment. So what time are we investing? A whole lot of failures so that we can take a step back, readjust, get it right, succeed. Lots of little steps, lots of little wins is going to amount into big, big success for you later into the
Used to consider the
as a recruiter. All right. Now, we often talk about the 4 stages of leadership competency. This is absolutely true in anything you do. Okay, anything you do. Okay, whether you're a network marketer and becoming a recruiter, or whether you're going to be a quarterback for football. Right. I remember Mr. Timothy Herr, his third son. Right. I first met his third son when he was literally 4 months old in a tuxedo. Today he's a powerhouse senior about to graduate and getting love calls all over the country for a full ride scholarship to be a quarterback at almost any prestigious university. But guess what? When that child was first born, he didn't know football, right? And he had to go through these stages of being bad, getting good, learning how to be good, and then without even thinking, really being good, right? So that's how network marketing works. So in the beginning, guess what? You're unconscious and incompetent, meaning you don't know what's really going on and you have no skill set to do anything about it. Let's go back to when you were first a planner, right? You were kind of skeptical, doubtful, but in the back of your heart, somewhere you were a little bit hopeful, right? That's what got you in, kept you in, right? That's probably the only driving force that got you into direct sales. So you were probably unconscious, didn't know, but right, but hopefully when you make it past this stage, what happens? A paradigm shift happens, right? And you get this new realization about how business works, how money is made, and it's almost like you crack the code, right? But in the beginning, a brand new planner is going to be unconscious and incompetent. So you're not going to be that great at recruiting, and that's okay. And it's good to acknowledge that. And that's why when we're planners, managers, and senior managers, we borrow the strength, confidence, and the skill set of our team leaders and our directors. Our upline runs with us, right? And the whole point of your team leader running with you is because they know you're unconscious and incompetent, right? So what their job is to get you through this paradigm shift as quick as possible and get you to at least conscious incompetence. Once you're conscious and incompetent, that's when true humility starts and you get to learn, right? Because you start to realize the more I think I know, the more I realize I don't know, right? So you're aware what is needed, what needs to be possible, but you still don't know how to do it yet, and you still can't quite do it, right? And that's why we still run with our upline. But later, as you go through the ranks, you're a senior manager, now you've hit team leader, now people look at you, you've got some great income, you've got a great story, and now you are conscious and competent, right? You are capable, you're able to do a great presentation, public speaking. You're competent in recruiting people, helping your team, go through the ranks of planner, manager, senior manager, and getting results, right? And then later, as you become a director, senior director, national director, guess what happens? When you become to the likes of myself or Mr. Timothy or Mr. Danny Bay, guess what happens? It becomes unconscious competence, meaning you could do it with your eyes closed, you could do it with your hands tied behind your back, while all the while being upside down and perfecting it and executing it masterfully, right? That is what you call unconscious competent, right? Like when we take a look at Timmy Herr Jr., Tim Herr's third son in football, right? He is a powerhouse quarterback and he's a lefty, and just touchdown after touchdown after touchdown after touchdown after touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. Why? Because that kid has been doing it since he was 3 years old, over and over and over and over, and mastering that little craft on how to launch that football, right? So guess what? He's unconscious and competent, and he could do it like he breathes, right? Like you don't need to think twice when you breathe, right? That's how you become when you become unstoppable when you are unconscious and competent. You become a recruiting machine because you know what to do right away. You know what to say. You know how to read the angle. You know how to read personality traits. You know how to see everything above the storm. Okay. So that's where you want to be. But remember, this takes time. And this is why I often reiterate your time investment is by far the most important thing in this business, more than buying product. Honestly, using the product and doing that, that's going to be a catalyst to start a conversation, a walking billboard. But, this type of skill set, once you learn it, once you get this down by heart and you know the skill set of this, you never have to worry about money ever again because wherever you go, you're going to have the skill set, right? Okay. So when it comes to being an effective recruiter, I often talk about being a great listener, right? God gave us two ear holes and one mouth hole for a reason, right? Because God wants us to listen more than we talk. And I'm guilty of it too. I can talk my tail off. I probably talk too much. But if you are an effective listener, you will be an effective recruiter. Mr. Danny Bay and Mr. Timothy Herr, those two people, I look up to them very much, those two very much, and they are absolute effective listeners. They are so good at listening, and I think that's what in tune makes them great recruiters as well. But because they are a certain personality, they do it in their own style and able to execute with precision because of that unconscious competency that they have and the time investment and the training and the personal development that they took to learn, right? So with that said, as you go into your recruiting journey, just be mindful that there's going to be about four types of personalities that you're going to meet everywhere and anywhere in the world you go. Yeah, you heard me right. You're everywhere you go, you're going to meet only four types of people, but they only have different faces and different names, but they all are one of these four personalities, right? So we break it down into probably two types of categories. We either say animal or colors, right? So it's either red, green, blue, or yellow, or we would say shark, dolphin, urchin, and whale. Okay. So the first category is a shark, right? So what is a shark? A shark is, I would say I'm a shark, right? I like nice things. I like to be polished. I do like to exercise posture. I am confident in the things that I speak of. And my weakness, yeah, I do have a need to be right sometimes, right? This is totally me, right? A shark, right? But what is a shark? Sharks are competitive. They're somewhat materialistic, right? They like nice things, right? They might like that Rolex watch or a nice Mercedes Benz or that type of a situation, right? Now, when you come across a dolphin, right, which is a blue, these people are called natural promoters, right? They like to have fun. They're social. They're flamboyant, bright clothes, and they're super cartoonish, right? I would say Tim Herr reminds me of a dolphin. He would be the prime example, right? And then when it comes to up here on the green, we have a sea urchin, right? These people are data-driven people, or I would say like doctors, engineers, lawyers, very, very data-driven people. These types of people are very, very play safe types of people. And when you get to the yellow, this is a whale, right? So what I call a whale is like a Mother Teresa, Michael Jackson's "We Are the World," lots of maybe church activities, lots of charity work. So, but with that said, all types of these personalities can definitely succeed in our industry. But what I like to share is when you're sitting with somebody, I often talk about letting them talk for a good 5 to 10 minutes so that you could hear and understand what they have to talk about. And by hearing them out and listening more, you'll be able to get a gauge on what type of one of four personality these people are. And on top of that, when you let somebody genuinely talk and you hear somebody out, guess what happens? The person speaking naturally gets excited, enthusiastic, and they become much more open-minded when you give them a chance to hear them out. So with that said, take a look at this, figure out what part of the matrix you are, what animal you are, and you're going to be able to have a small navigator on how to talk to people and be a great recruiter. And sometimes I kind of say as a cheat code, learn to be a chameleon, right? Because, the reality is we have all four traits in us. It's just which level is a lot higher and more do we lean towards, okay? Also, another thing, during the time I let them talk, while I'm figuring out are they a shark, dolphin, urchin, or a whale, I use the form. Okay, this is an acronym for family, occupation, recreation, and what's your motivation? And I asked them, so tell me about your family. Oh, really? How many children do you have? What do you do for a living? So what do you do for fun? And what is your dreams and goals? Like what do you do? And if you listen carefully, by applying this, you're going to be able to see what their hot button is, what personality they are, and by communicating so, you guys can kind of build a rapport and a mutual understanding about global trends, how to benefit from a booming economy. And the gig economy is actually 75 million people and where they fit in and growing type of an economy, which is like a side gig. Think about it, right? Two paid vacations a year, and you're making money, and maybe a spouse already has a full-time income. They're not going anywhere, right? That's the beauty of part-time. And what you're looking to do is hit people's hot buttons to see what motivates them and what it is they like, right? So you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. People will remember how you made them feel, not what you said. Ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. Yes, that is true. A lot of times, when they ask, what are the common denominators of successful people? It's they make decisions fast, and even if they don't know, they act like they know and they figure it out as they go. Okay. Timing, not talent. Spend 100 minutes on 100 people rather than 100 minutes on one person. Okay. When somebody asks for a cup of water, you do not need to douse them with a fire hose, right? It's all about being able to gauge the right time, the right type of energy, right? Somebody that might not be now, they might tell you no, but it doesn't necessarily mean no. It means not now. A lot of the times that is the case. Okay. Amateurs will find a way to complain and professionals will find solutions. Facts tell, stories sell. Guys, we have so many facts to tell, and we have so many compelling stories to sell. Okay. All right. So with that said, when you're launching a brand new person, a brand new planner, you must be non-negotiable about them bringing out their contact list. Okay. When someone tells you, "Oh, I don't really have anybody. I don't have that many people," that doesn't mean they don't have people. They're giving you an excuse saying, "I already prejudged the people in my contact list and I made a decision that they're not getting started." Okay. So remember, when people tell you that, it's because most of the time they don't have confidence. Okay. But a lot of times I tell them to look for the three distinctive types of contacts in your network: the people that respect you, the people that are your peers, and the people that I respect, right? And oftentimes you're going to have phone contacts, email contacts, and social media contacts. So there's no reason why you can't get to about 100 to 250 in all three of these sectors combined. Okay. So when it comes to people that respect me, I go hard. I teach them to close hard because sometimes people are going to gain trust and confidence because you're there, right? I want you to use that for your benefit. When it comes to my peers, I use the power of edification. I'm always edifying the other leader, the next leader, whether I'm edifying Mr. Timothy Herr, Mr. Danny Bay, Mr. Huang, Miss Betty Perez, Chairman On, and so on. I always use the edification tool because why? Somebody might trust me, but it doesn't necessarily mean they might respect me, right? So trust is a big part of the business. And the people that I respect, a lot of the times, I just ask them for their opinion and come and take a look. Let me know what you think. All right. Okay. To be an effective recruiter, also applying the 24-hour game plan using speed and exposure is a must. Okay. So I want you to take immediate action and compile your warm market list now. So what this is when you get a brand new distributor, when you get a brand new planner, once you sign them up, right? You're excited. Yeah, I got my new frontline, right? And then what? You're thinking, what do we do now? What do we do next, right? This is the thing to implement if you want to be a great recruiter, because you want to implement as they come in, implement this 24-hour game plan and be able to taproot that new contact list to pull in more people from that person's contact list, right? So take immediate action. Make sure your brand new planner, as you launch them, be non-negotiable and tell them to compile the warm market list now. Cold market will get you nowhere. Start with the people you know. Start also do your beat your box campaign before the delivery comes. Don't wait for the products to arrive. Borrow your upline's products, get results, get team members quick. And by the time your product arrives, you have a small team that you're running and gunning with, you know, right away. Okay. Invite your top 5, 7 to closest prospects and plug into the meetings ASAP. Your job is not to convince, but it's to sort. And remember, if you brought in 5 to 7, 2 of them might not show up. 3 of them might just be a customer. 2 are going to be a planner and join your business. But remember, another brand new person that joins has another extra 250 to 300 brand new contacts. And if you got 2, that's another 500 to 600 new people that you could hit in that contact list immediately. Okay. Your goal is to invite and get them in front of the next presenter. Do not explain, do not convince. Your job is just to promote. Okay. It's easier to do fast than slow. Finalize a new recruit or customer in 24 hours. When you get these results, that's what boosts morale, right? Move fast. Okay. Staying in phase 1 is also important. Phase 1, right? Here's what I'm going to say. Okay. Whether you're a national director, whether you're a senior director, team leader, senior manager, or planner, every single one of us must stay in phase 1, meaning we are actively taprooting and in the campaign of recruiting and growing a leg in business. Why? Because you have to lead by example from the front. Only the leader sets the tone, sets the tempo, and sets the pace. Okay. The moment you start calling your downline and you start saying, hey, what's going on? You're starting to go into management mode. And then by the time you call your downline and your downline is calling their downline, what's going on? What's happening? The manager is managing the manager. Okay. And then by that time, when you yield no results, everybody's negative and everybody's complaining and they are on the verge of quitting. Okay. The reason why we emphasize staying in phase one is to create massive momentum. But in order to create momentum, it's all about speed, right? Success loves speed. It's not like a marathon, slow and steady, but creating a burst of intense activity and energy in a short period of amount of time. Just run, 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 go, 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 right? Like when we're hitting up markets, it's like a run, run, run. Slow and steady doesn't work in our industry. It requires a very strong push until your business can take off like a plane, takes altitude with momentum and height. Okay, so give it all you got for a short period of time and watch momentum take off, right? Okay, also fortune is in the follow-up. Most of the time, people are going to tell you no, but you can't take no for an answer. You take it as a not now. Okay, not now. This by far right here is the most important information I can give you tonight. 58% of all salespeople quit completely after one single call on a prospect. It means they told you no, and then you moved on. Okay. Like, imagine like for the guys out there, right? If you want to be with that beautiful girl and she told you no, right? Sometimes it's worth a second try, a third try, and because of your tenacity, that sometimes you'll win their respect over, right? But lots of times, 58% of the times, you completely miss out because of the first no and you just decided to move on. Look at what you're leaving on the table. 20% make 2 calls before giving up. 2. 7% make 3 calls, and 15% make 5 calls or more. 15% of the salespeople that make 7 calls or more produce about 75% of the entire business. Guys, I have my dear friend, top producing senior director, Mr. Robert Nunn, on the call here. He is at the doorstep of being a national director. He's going to be a national director soon, possibly at the end of this year, maybe early next year, but he's going to be a national director. But guess what? He told me no the first time. He told me no the second time. He told me to get lost the third time. He told me the fourth time, I'm not sure, Chris. Not really sure. You know, it's timing. I'm kind of tied up right now. He said no the fifth time. He said no the sixth time. He said no the seventh time. And yes, he said yes on the eighth time. So why did I do this? Because I knew the law of averages, right? I just said, I'm going to go ask again just to get another no out of the way, right? And I was relentless, relentless. So think about it, like once you know the cheat code, once you know the probability, why would you not be relentless? This is why I would consider myself a great recruiter. And I have fun with it because I know the numbers. I already know the probability and I don't take it personally. And you miss 100% of the shots you don't take when it was never yours to begin with. Guys, I hope you got an aha moment with what I said, okay? So fortune is definitely in the follow-up, right? So we call it the 80-20 rule. In the short game, you want to spend 80% of all your time with the red apples. Those are your yeses. Those are the people that have committed to you. In the long game, you want to spend 20% of your time with green apples, okay? So for a long time, my friend Robert and Joan, they were green apples, right? But I spent 20% of my time following up, following up, following up, following up, and that green apple eventually turned red, and bam, we became partners, right? And then there's the rotten apples, right? Spend 0% of your time with negative people because rottenness also spreads and is contagious like a cancer. Okay, stay away. A consistent follow-up program creates a predictable and profitable stream of customers that buy, as well as generating referrals. All right. So with that said, here's my call to action, right? You know, our business is about building a distribution channel. Go out there and build a brand new warm market. Sponsor some new people. Okay. The best call to action I can give you is not all at once. Okay. Start with onesies and twosies and threesies, but make it a point to get to 10 frontline sponsorships. Because if you do this, you're going to have a lot of fun on your way to team leader, director, senior director, national director, making boatloads. Because remember, yeah, it's 3 legs to become a team leader, but it's no fun if you have 3 legs. But if you have 10 legs, remember, you're setting yourself up for team leader. You're already setting yourself up for director, senior director, and national director. And all the while breaking more team leaders under you, kicking in the matching bonuses, you're maintaining multiple other legs and teams of open volume bonus that's going to give you that big bonus, right? So with that said, don't make this complicated. Just focus on 3 things, okay? Sponsoring 10 frontline wide. Second, make a promise to yourself and a commitment that you will become a team leader. And third, last but not least, but the most important, make it a goal to make your business a senior manager duplication factory. Just pumping out senior manager, senior manager, senior manager, senior manager. If you do that, you will have a thriving business and it'll just bump you up all the way through the ranks while you make great income.